This sentence should not be deleted. But why did HYBE do it? What exactly did Chris Martin say to BTS's Jin before going on stage? And why do Coldplay fans actually feel offended because of the special treatment? Is this just plain worship? Or is there something much bigger being hidden? Chris Martin said this phrase to Jin before going on stage, but HYBE edit from the original video. A sketch shot of Coldplay, BTS concert guest Jin's appearance as the main star. Coldplay fans said this was too much for Chris Martin. What's wrong with HYBE? What was supposed to be the most moving moment between two world musicians has now turned into a mystery that has left millions of fans feeling betrayed. There is a sentence, an inaudible sentence in the final version of the Coldplay concert documentation video. Chris Martin's lineup went straight to BTS's Jin, just before the legendary Coldplay frontman stepped on stage with Jin in a performance now touted as one of the most emotional collaborations in modern music history. But the sentence disappeared. Edited. Removed.
And who did it?
HYBE. But why? That question is now a hot stone that fans are throwing in all directions. What exactly did Chris Martin tell Jin? And why did HYBE feel the need to eliminate that part? Is it too personal? Too political? Or is it too honest? The fact that there is no official explanation on the part of the agency only magnifies suspicions. More than that, this incident reveals a sketch that is much larger and more complicated than it appears on the surface. Because the deleted moment was not just a few words from a musician friend to his duet partner. It was a moment that seemed to be an emotional turning point for Jin, even before the first song was sung that night. Why are Coldplay fans so angry? What was initially described as an equal collaboration has now turned into a display of glorification that, according to some viewers, feels inappropriate. We went to a Coldplay concert to see Coldplay. But what we got was a spotlight that was entirely directed at one person, Jin, wrote one fan in the online community. It's like a tribute concert for him. Such comments are not just one or two. Even some of Coldplay's huge fan base were disappointed, saying that Chris Martin seemed too submissive to Genie and that such special treatment shouldn't happen at concerts that carry Coldplay's name in the headlines. But of course, that's just one side of the story, because if you look from the side of Jin and ARMY, this is more than just an appearance. This is an emotional farewell. The concert took place while Jin was counting down the days to his mandatory military service. And as he went on stage, the camera's glare caught his teary eyes. But that's precisely what makes the sentence from Chris Martin all the more important. Some of the witnesses who were present and heard directly from behind the stage, the sentence was not an ordinary speech. Whatever happens, this stage is yours tonight. That's what local staff claim Chris Martin said to Jin, accompanied by a pat on the shoulder and a big hug. A sentence that gives the main stage to the genie even if only for one night. But if the sentence is so meaningful, why is it deleted? This question deepens as we begin to relate it to how HYBE treats Jin's overall appearance. In the official video release, almost every angle of shooting is made with an excessive focus on Jin. There was even a moment when Chris Martin sang an important part, but the camera actually highlighted Jin's face, who was just silently closing his eyes. What kind of editing is this? Is HYBE building a grand narrative around Jin? Or is this part of a marketing project to save BTS's popularity in the midst of a military hiatus? We cannot ignore the fact that this documentary video does not belong to any foreign media or independent production team. This is the official content controlled by HYBE. And HYBE, as we know, never does anything impulsively. Every frame, every camera angle, even the duration of the shot of Jin's smiling face, everything is calculated with precision. So if any sentence is removed, then it is not a trivial decision. It was a strategic decision. It is natural that speculation develops quickly. One of them, that Chris Martin probably said something too personal about Jin's condition at that time. Or, even more shocking, Chris, maybe leaking something that is not yet time for the public to know. Is it about Jin's health? Mental stress? Or even the internal tension between HYBE and Coldplay regarding the setting of the performance scenario? These questions get even crazier when a leaked backstage sketch of a concert shoot that was done before Jin went on stage appears. In one of the photos, which has not been released to the public, but has circulated in limited circles of the army elite, Jin is seen holding a small note, which is touted as Chris Martin's personal handwritten note. Is this some kind of short letter? Is that a farewell message? And why hasn't HYBE officially released the photo yet? Surprise after surprise kept popping up, including the fact that after the performance, Jin was not seen in public activities for almost 2 whole weeks. No private uploads, no updates from the agency, only silence. It was as if the stage had left something too heavy for him. Was it because of the words he heard? Is it because it knows that HYBE has removed that part from the official publication? To date, there is no official statement from HYBE, but rumors continue to grow. HYBE received a subtle protest from Coldplay about excessive editing. There is also speculation that Jin himself asked for the part to be removed because it contained too much emotional baggage. But isn't that precisely the reason why the public should know about it? Is it just a matter of missing sentences? Or is it a reflection of something much bigger? That the narrative we see about BTS, Coldplay, and that whole grand stage is probably just a construction that's been very carefully crafted and manipulative. Chris Martin once said that a genie is someone who brings calmness even in his silent voice. But that night, before the music began, before the spotlights lit up the stage, it was in silence that a sentence was born. A sentence that should not be missing, but in reality, the sentence has been removed. And all that remains now is speculation, stifled tears, and questions that hang without answers.
Why?
Why did HYBE delete it? What do they fear will happen if the world finds out what Chris Martin really said? And most painfully, did the genie herself ask to eliminate it, because she knew when the music stopped and the lights went out, she would have to return to a much quieter reality. A few weeks after the concert, the voices that were originally whispering now turned into furious cheers. The fans are no longer just asking, they are demanding. What really happened behind HYBE's decision to edit the most intimate moment between Chris Martin and Jin? Why was the meaningful sentence omitted? And is this the only cleaned moment? Are there still other parts of reality that are locked up in a controlled edit space? One of the most startling clues emerged from a freelance photographer contracted to document Jin's photo shoot as Coldplay's guest main star. He posted a short story, which was deleted just 2 hours after it was posted. In the story, he wrote, "I have never photographed someone looking so deeply into the camera. Jin is not posing. It's like he's sending a message. And when I asked, he just said, it's not for HYBE. It's for him." The sentence "he" becomes a great mystery. What is Chris Martin? Or someone else who is also not present at the concert? More mysteriously, many fans noticed that in the photo shoot, Jin wore a ring that had never been seen before. A black ring with a small engraving that can only be read if digitally enlarged. Some fans who enlarged the photo believe that the ring says ASTRA, Latin word meaning star or stars. Does this have anything to do with the song The Astronaut? Or is it part of a personal message that only one particular person can understand? What increased suspicion was the fact that the shoot was not released by HYBE in full. Only a few frames were selected and loaded on official media, while the rest remained sealed behind folders of unknown existence. Some even said that the shooting was not in accordance with HYBE's visual narrative request. That Jin's expression was considered too heavy, too sad, and too real. This is not the first time that HYBE has been accused of controlling the emotions of her artists to stay true to the image they want to maintain. But when this happens at what should be a farewell celebration, it feels like a betrayal. Many ARMY felt that Jin was not given the opportunity to say goodbye in his own way. And even worse, many believe that this is not the decision of the genie. That he wanted Chris Martin's line to be heard. That he wanted the world to know how much that night meant. But he was locked up in a silent version designed by the company. A former HYBE video editor who now lives abroad said anonymously, "There is an unwritten script in every HYBE documentation. It's not just about the scenes that are recorded, but which scenes are allowed for public viewing. We can't touch on the parts that are too emotionally vulnerable, especially if it could bring up a narrative that is not directly controlled by the company." Then he added, Chris sentences to the genie, "Yeah, we know about that. It was recorded. but we also knew it would never make it to the outside world. So, if the sentence exists and is indeed recorded, why did HYBE keep it? Why not release a full version of the concert? And even more horrifying, did Jin know that the most important part of his appearance had been? A few days after that Coldplay concert passed and the official video aired without a single sentence Chris Martin said to Jin before they went on stage, the atmosphere of the fandom began to change. If at first it was only a vague disappointment, now it begins to form a dark cloud of suspicion and distrust. Something's not right. The truth is like being arrested. And even more surprising, some of the fans who attended the concert were directly voiced. These sounds can no longer be ignored. A Brazilian army man who emotionally shared his experience on social media said that he recorded a few seconds of the moment before Jin and Chris went on stage. He swore, and was even willing to swear, that he heard Chris say, "This song only belongs to you now, not even to me anymore." The sentence is piercing, inside, very deep, not just because of its meaning, but because he, Chris Martin, pronounced it in a quivering voice, then pulled the genie in a quick hug before walking towards the stage. But in the officially released concert video by